All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We pick this up in John chapter 5 and verse 39. So search the scriptures. The enemy think you have eternal life. And there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to Yahuwah. In the name of Yahushua, let Elohim be esteemed. First and foremost, let's hit this Psalms 137, though, and get back on the road. Psalms 137. Shalom, Christine. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For they that carried us away captive required of us a song. They that wasted us mirth, saying, sing us of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing Yahuwah's song in a strange land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget. If I do not remember you, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Yahuwah, the sons of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy that rewards you as you have served us. Happy that take and dash your little ones against the stones. So I'm trying to recall, where did we stop? I think we stopped in Isaiah 41. Jeremiah 41. So we're in Jeremiah 42. For those of you who are not aware, we began this process about a month ago, rather longer than that, in regards to dealing with Sunday in Psalm 78 about him choosing Zion and Yehuda. And in that regard, we began to look at the elements of the genealogies in Matthew and Luke. And of course, that genealogy in Matthew talks about 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 generations from David to the going into Babylon, and 14 generations from Babylon to Mashiach. And we're looking at the time period. We already discussed the 14 generations that led from Abraham to David, discussed the 14 generations that got you from David, and now to this point of going into Babylon. And that is what we're looking at. And we're looking at the history of all the things that surround that matter. So with that being said, Jeremiah chapter 42 and verse 1. It said, then all the captains of the forces and Yohanan, the son of Kareah, Jezaniah, the son of Hoshiah, and all the people from the least even unto the greatest came near and said unto Jeremiah the prophet, let we beseech you, and our supplication be accepted before you, and pray for us unto Yahuwah your Elohim for all this remnant, for we are left a few of many, as your eyes do behold us. Now, we've talked about this passage before. It's been a good little while, but you see another advent of an individual being an intercessor. People are always saying you could go to Yahuwah directly. These people were mired in sin and had been rejected by Yahuwah. How are they going to be able to do that? You should know that these people have been rejected by Yahuwah from what we read in 2 Kings chapter 23 and the things in Jeremiah chapters 40 and 41 and dealing with them going into Babylon. So when you're mired in sin, there has to be someone who is clean that can be able to approach unto Yahuwah on your behalf. You cannot be unclean and approach to Yahuwah yourself. If any individual tells you that, that is faulty understanding. Let's go ahead and show ourselves this out of the law. Y'all should already know where we're headed. But if you don't, it's Exodus 32. And we will start that at verse 1, and then we'll move our way around. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, make us gods, which shall go before us. For this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Mizraim, we wot not what has become of him. Aaron said unto him, break off your gold earrings, which are in the ears of your wives and of your sons and of your daughters, bring unto me. And okay, we deal with all that. Drop down to verse 7. We just wanted to establish the fact that they did this because Moses wasn't there. Now we have to establish another fact. You would said unto Moses, get you down, for your people, which you have brought out of the land of Mizraim, have corrupted. Now, we're going to just stop, see what we have for corrupted, and then we're going to move forward, because we're not going to spend an inordinate amount of time in Exodus 32. So when we look at corrupted, what we have is shakath, a word that we have talked about before. They have destroyed themselves. They have corrupted themselves. They have taken themselves unto ruin. They have dealt corruptly. They have destroyed themselves. Now, come over here to son in the book of Hosea. I want to say it's chapter 12. It's not verse 8. Don't want verse 8. It's 13. Hosea chapter 13. We'll pick it up at verse 1 just on general principle. When Ephraim spake trembling, he exalted himself in Yasharal. And when he offended in Baal, he died. So we're going to stop. We're going to pay attention to that. And of course, you know, Ephraim is Elohim has made me fruitful in my affliction. When he spake trembling. So what passages do you know of off the top of your heads that come to he that was fruitful in affliction, speaking and trembling in the same fashion? Trembling, of course, is simply Re'ath, and it is simply trembling or terror. And when he exalted himself in Yasharal, of course, all exalted is Nasah, which is to lift up. Of course, he said he offended in Baal, and we know Baal is Lord, the deity of the Canaanites, but we're going to see if we can get some understanding out of the play. What comes to your mind about the speaking, trembling part? I gave you a moment. Do you have anything over there, ma'am? What do you have for me? You know what? I will allow it. I wasn't referring to that, but I didn't string that all the way out. That is sufficient. That is sufficient. She mentioned the people trembling on the mountain. That's when he saw the angel, and he was terrified. So yeah, he was very terrified, and understandably so. Any of you, because if you're not going to be swift on the draw, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it rolling. Anybody going once, twice? No. Well, let's do this. I'm going to take the back end of it and work it towards the front. First and foremost, let's go to Philippians Chapter 2. And let's pick this up. I'm picking up at verse 5. You have 2 Corinthians 7 and 12. Give me a moment, and we shall examine. Chapter 2, verse 5. Nisha has offered 2 Corinthians 7 and 12. In a moment, we shall examine. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach Yahushua, who being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant and was made in the likeness of men. Being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the stake. Wherefore Elohim also have highly exalted him. So we have a matter with the exaltation in that Hosea 13, and we will visit it in a moment. And given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahushua every knee should bow in heaven, in earth, and under the earth. And every tongue that should confess that Yahushua HaMashiach, Lord, to the esteem of Elohim Abba. Wherefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, but not in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. It don't matter because I wouldn't have started at 12 anyway, so it's okay. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is Elohim which work in you both to will and to do of good pleasure. Now, it was funny because I just heard these people arguing about this particular matter, and it was hilarious. And it was hilarious because you had a woman talking about what a good man would do, and that a good man would make sure that his wife is happy at all times. And then she made the quotation of happy wife, happy life. Now I want you to sit back and I want you to ponder that in the ways of Yahuwah. I don't want you to think about it in the natural sense of what you're accustomed to in this life, because it is irrelevant. But just imagine if Yahuwah had the mantra of happy wife, happy life, and sought always to keep Yasharal happy with everything that Yasharal desired. Could you even fathom the level of confusion, corruption, and destruction that would have been running through the earth? Just imagine that. I don't want you to imagine it looking at it, thinking about your spouse. But just imagine if Yahuwah yielded to everything that made Yasharal happy. And this is part of the reason, because I was talking to somebody about this Sunday and trying to explain this to them because I knew they didn't have the proper understanding. Is that, and y'all know this as we've discussed it, you see it. People don't know Yahuwah. So they want to make him be who they want him to be versus who he actually is. So people don't have a delight to what can I do to have him pleased with me today? How can I serve him? How can I make him delighted? Because in going to make Yahuwah delighted, he will in turn make sure that you're delighted. That's how that works. That's why I've always told the ladies that is the power of femininity that 99.9% of women miss out on. You know what I'm saying? Because no one has. But see, this is what also the problem come in. And I think BOA talked about this the other day, and it's accurate. Most women are usually submissive to the wrong nigga. So then what they should get back for being feminine, they're not going to get it from him because you chose to do that with the wrong man, and then you put that on other men. And see, that's what people claim that they've done with Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? But they've never actually yielded them, because if you yield yourself to Yahuwah, I could not see yourself. I just couldn't fathom the thought of walking away from him. That to me makes absolutely no sense whatsoever if you have actually genuinely yielded to Yahuwah from the heart. I can't. That to me is unfathomable. You know what I'm saying? But that's another shalom, man. That's just another conversation. I remember telling the brother that all the time. Yeah, man, the ruach is like hearing the word. No, it's not, because actually receiving the ruach meaning you would have actually yielded to Yahuwah. That's why he say it's impossible for you to go back. Ain't no way in the world you done yielded to Yahuwah and tasted of his promise and go back. That's not. You're not finna convince me that. I'm talking about. You're not even convinced me that somebody will do such a thing. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just the mindset. I just had a conversation yesterday, which is accurate. Like, we were discussing on, can a young girl learn how to serve a man? Where does she learn that from? She has to learn that from observing her mother do it. Yes, and we're talking about, yes, you can point scriptures out. And you can tell them, yeah, the word says to do this, the word says to do that. But the impact is going to be double when that word has been pointed out, and then she views her mother serving a man. Because one of the things that we don't sit back and look at is if the young girl does not see that and is raised to do it and is accustomed to doing so, she's going to have a very difficult time doing that for a man when once especially her emotions begin involved and also once they begin to become intimate. And she does not have that type of training from her youth. It's going to be extremely difficult for her to learn how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because her instinct is going to be, man, bump this nigga. You know what I'm saying? I can't do all this for this nigga. You wonder why you see all this here, and that's what you see when you hear. Everybody does not fully get. You're not raised to see people fully give themselves to Yahuwah. So therefore, that's why another rationale why you see it is very difficult for people to do so if he has not given them the heart to do so. Now we know that is the biggest caveat in the whole play, that he has to give you a heart to do so. But if we just look at on the regular system, order, and structure of the whole deal, if that has not been viewed from your childhood, and depending when the word comes, see, praise be to Yahuwah, most of y'all, the word came when you were fairly young. So you didn't get a long opportunity to develop a lot of bad habits and thought processes to break, as some people who get it when they're older. I don't think most people realize how difficult human beings are creatures of habit. It is very difficult for human beings to cease and desist from habits that they have accrued over 10, 15, 20, 25 years. It is very, very difficult for them to do so. That's why that's in that 48 laws of power about preach change, but don't reform too quickly. That's why if you notice, when you come at people full throttle and you destroy everything that they believed in and everything that they hold to be sacred, that's why you get so much resistance. You're asking somebody to change their entire reality in one conversation. And then you're shocked when they don't want to do it. That means you lack a complete and total skill, or you lack skill and the human thought process and psychology to be able to win a soul over, because you can't come at people. Some people can handle it more than others, but in general, you can't come at people like that. You can't destroy their reality and expect, you know what, that's right. Because the only way that would occur, Yahuwah had to give them the heart to receive that. Most people, you got to use a little skill. You know what I'm saying? As the old people say, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. That's what you're going to have to do. You know what I'm talking about? But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But see, let's continue talking about that. Let's hit this 2 Corinthians 7. Let's see what she got over here. Let me see. Yeah, you was in the general, Cindy. I'll pick it up in verse 13, though. Therefore, we have comforted you in comfort, yea, exceedingly, the more joyed we for the joy of Titus, because the Ruach was refreshed by you all. For if I boasted anything to him of you, I am not ashamed. But as we spake all things to you in truth, even so our boasting, which before Titus is found a truth, and his inward affection is more abundant toward you, while he remembered the obedience of you all, how with fear and trembling you received him, I rejoice that I have confidence in you in all things. Now he's talking about this fear and trembling yet again. Now this is in a different context, so it's okay. We want to look at the other spot. We'll come over here to 1 Corinthians Chapter 2. And then from 1 Corinthians Chapter 2, we will go to, what it is. We'll go to Ezekiel Chapter 12 and Isaiah 51. Let's look at 1 Corinthians Chapter 2. And we'll look at 1 Corinthians 2:1. You know what I'm saying? It was just funny. You know what I'm talking about? And I told my homeboy who was in there with me when we were riding, listening to them talking about, and I'm like, I said, this is an example why people don't want to serve Yahuwah. Because in this society, women are raised to believe, you know what I'm saying? And I was talking to Derek about the same thing. Women are raised to believe that their feelings are the most important thing, and that everything and everyone is supposed to cater to how they feel. And as he mentioned, it is very difficult for women to separate their feelings from facts, information, and reality. It's very difficult for them to do that. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, they know what the reality is, but they just would rather allow their feelings to dominate versus just accepting reality. And that is no different than men when you're talking about dealing in the flesh. Men do the same thing. They just don't realize that they do it. They just do it towards Yahuwah. So that's why people don't realize, that's why men don't really focus on the fact that they're doing the same thing. You understand? Because you'll put your desires in your flesh and your carnal mind before the will of Yahuwah. That's why he say the carnal mind is enmity or is hatred and death. It is not subject to the law of Elohim, neither indeed can be. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with any type of emotion, any type of carnality, that can't be subject to rationality, can't be subject to the Ruach. That's impossible. That's why I always be tripping on dudes who absolutely their feelings get in the way of accountability. Indeed. And it also gets, and it definitely does that for men when it comes to dealing with Yahuwah. Your flesh gets in the way of your accountability with Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? And I know that frustrates most men, but see, this is what men have to learn. You cannot meet a woman on an emotional battlefield because she will destroy you. You will be a loser. You will come home maimed. You will lose a limb. You very well may lose your life, and you're definitely going to lose your sanity. You cannot defeat her in something that you have no experience in, being that you are not an emotional creature by nature. So that's why people say, be there for me emotionally. That is impossible for someone to do, for a man to do it anyway. He can help you try to understand your emotions, but he cannot be there with you emotionally. He does not know how to do it. Men don't operate in that space. They just don't operate in that space to be able to say, I can be an emotional strength to you. How is he going? His logic and his reason is going to overtake his mind. If he is a man, his mind is going to think, what is it that I can do to help them understand this emotion so this emotion can be abated and ceased? You know what I'm talking about? That's why most women find emotional men with utter disdain. They despise them and disgust them because you're operating on the same level as them. Therefore, I cannot rely on you in any shape, form, or fashion. You are moved by your emotions as I am. They will determine you to be weak. And I'm mentioning that because the text determines the flesh to be weak, and in that weakness of the flesh, of putting it to death, that's where your strength is going to come from, because you would only do that through the righteousness of Yahuwah, which is by faith. Now we'll get to what you mentioned in a moment, Lisa. Let's get to this 1 Corinthians chapter 2. And our brethren, when I came to you, not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of Elohim. For I determined not to know anything among you save Yahushua HaMashiach crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. See, we're coming with the weakness, the reverence, and the trembling yet again. And why is this important? Let's take a look at the Job 26:11 that Alicia has offered, and let's see if it's relevant to the course of our conversation. Oh, not at this time. Not at this time. That one there is not relevant to the course of the conversation. Trembling is there, but that one is not relevant to the course of this conversation at this time. Let's come over here to Ezekiel chapter 12. We will pick this up at verse 17. Yes, ma'am. Ezekiel 12 and 17. I was trying to see if y'all remembered Ezekiel 12 and 17 and Isaiah 51, but I understood if you did. Because it's been a long time. Moreover, the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, eat your bread with quaking, drink your water with trembling and with carefulness, and saying to the people of the land, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, of the land of Yasharal, they shall eat their bread with carefulness and drink their water with astonishment, that our land may be desolate from all that is therein, because of the violence of them that dwell therein. And the cities that are inhabited shall be laid waste, the land shall be desolate, and you shall know Yahuwah. You shall know that I am Yahuwah. And the word of Yahuwah came unto me again, saying, Son of man, what is the proverb you have you have in the land of Yasharal, saying the days are prolonged and every vision fail. Tell them, therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Yasharal, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision, for there shall be no more any vain vision or flattering divination within the house of Yasharal. For I am Yahuwah, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word, and will I perform it, saith Yahuwah. Again, the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, the house of Yasharal say the vision that he sees for many days to come. And he prophesied of times that are far off. Therefore say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, there shall none of my words be prolonged anymore, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith Yahuwah Elohim. Now see, I just added that extra. But you know that that's how people feel right now. Oh, that there what you talking about, that's for many days down the line. That ain't finna happen no time soon. You just talking. But let's take a look at something in 2 Peter Chapter 3, just on the house. And then we'll come back over here to 3 and 1, if you would. Then we'll come back over here to Isaiah 51. That's how a lot of people feel. We still hold to Exodus 32 also, by the way. A lot of people feel that way. That's a lot. People have been saying this the end times for the longest. And that's all because people who said it, they know what they were talking about. Didn't know what they were talking about. 2 Peter 3 and 1. This second epistle, beloved, now I write now unto you, which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance, that you be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the Kadash prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. And you see that now. That means they walk after their own desires. See, lust is just not restricted to sex. People desire many different things. People desire to do many different things. And those desires, and we just not even finna get into the multitude of the different desires that people desire to walk in. But y'all know them. Y'all familiar. You understand. You know. That's the world that you live in right now. People want to do what they want to do. They scoff and mock at the word. And they're saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as from the beginning of the creation. For this they be willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Elohim the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby when what the world then was being overflowed with water perished. But the heavens and earth, which are now by the same word kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. They don't even understand that it's the same heaven and earth that he flooded the people with during the time of Noah, and it's going to be the same one that he going to burn these people up under. But they don't get that and understand that, because they think, again, it's the selfishness of man, that you think everything is on your time. It's the same different. What he just described is the very things that y'all say you don't like in women. When you going to get the money? When you going to come up? This is stuff that, and you get upset with them, and people do Yahuwah like this, and y'all don't even see it. I've been trying to get y'all to understand and see that the very things that most men despise in women and dislike in women, you show it towards Yahuwah. And so sometimes you would have to need to look at yourself as a man and say, is this, because you know the women will say that, we'll get in order if the men get in order. Some women will, most won't. Do you know what I'm saying? An overwhelming majority won't. It's very difficult for somebody who perceives themselves not to have freedom to relinquish freedom. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think most men understand that. Why you think most people won't come and serve Yahuwah? They perceive that they have some level of freedom without serving Yahuwah. That's why most women, especially in America, our women specifically, don't want to be married, because they feel like if they get married, they're going to lose some manner of freedom or power that they had, when they didn't even realize you didn't have any freedom or power. The freedom and power that you perceived you had was the freedom and power to go after your lusts. You know what I'm talking about? But see, most women are not mentally, spiritually astute enough to understand that. That's why my point, that's why you cannot descend in an emotional battle with the woman you're going to lose. You have no experience in that arena. Why do you think Yahuwah does not come down and deal with men on a carnal level? He told you in John chapter 4 that Elohim is a ruach. So that means Elohim has no understanding of any level of carnality in the heart at all. He's not going to descend on that level with you. He knows you will beat him with experience and mastery. That means he's lowering himself to something that he is not. See, what most people understand as they want to say emotional support is that's somebody being there for you in a difficult time. That's not a supporting you emotionally. I can't support you when you're sad. I can only be there to comfort you. See, there's a difference. That's not support. That's comfort. Do you know how shameful it is that grown men don't even understand what it is that you're actually doing when someone is in an emotional state? You can only give comfort. You can only be there to give comfort. People cannot support you emotionally. How can I support you through anger? I must relax you and calm you. That's the way that I support you through anger. That's not being there emotionally for you. Because for me to be there emotionally for you, that means I have to take on the emotion that you have. So that means that two people are in a detrimental state that cannot assist one another. Because if we're both sad, how can I support you? Because now I'm sad with you. Now I need somebody to come help me. See, that makes no sense. You know what I'm talking about? See, some people are like, well, that's why the Lord came in the flesh. But he came in the literal flesh, but he did not have a carnal mind. So therefore, he could not support you in your carnality. Do you not see how many times he rebuked these people in their carnality? He can't support you in that. He doesn't have any point of reference to do it. You better watch these, man. These niggas weak out here, man. You understand me? You know what I'm saying? I referenced something yesterday, and I told you this before. Y'all need to start walking around here calling niggas kings, man. We done already went through this through the text. Was everybody of the tribe of Judah a king? No. You had to be from the seed of David. Stop letting these niggas gas you up because you got low self-esteem to somebody tell you we come from kings and queens. No, we don't, nigga. Not on the natural side. No, you don't, nigga. Now, see, there's a difference. If you born a Mashiach, then by his blood, he's made you kings and priests, correct? But guess what? If you had any type of humility, understanding who Yahushua was, you would know that you would not walk around here telling people you were king. You would walk in humility as a servant until this man gave you his crown, gave you your crown, and then you could sit down at his right hand and rule with him, because he did not walk around telling people he was a king, even though he knew he was one. He didn't have to, because the nobility of his character already manifested that. And we done went through that before. Being a king is a mentality. And most niggas don't qualify. Most of these niggas is peasants and pawns. Niggas ain't kings. Niggas ain't got no rule over their own emotions, their own thoughts, their own life, their own finances. They ain't got rule over nothing. Nigga, how is you a king? Nigga, that is insane. Women, I'm a queen. How you a queen with no husband? You know what I'm talking about? You ain't no queen. You ain't no queen. Unless your daddy was a king, baby, you just a regular woman. You was a handmaiden, baby. Be comfortable with that. Because if you was a queen, there's a mentality that go with that. Queens carry themselves with dignity and modesty and regalness. You can't be no slower talking about you no queen. You can't have your titties out talking about you a queen. You can't be clapping your booty cheeks in public talking about you's a queen. You niggas is insane. And we like, that's royalty right there. That nigga ain't royalty. Niggas be calling niggas, that's hip-hop royalty. Them niggas is niggas who sing and rap for a living and do ungodly things when the lights ain't on. And you quick to call niggas that. I tell a nigga, man, if a nigga need to call you a king, if you need your self-esteem lifted up from random people calling you a king and a queen, you need some therapy of the highest order. There's something wrong with you. Because you shouldn't need that to make you feel get better about it. You shouldn't be like, you know what, I am a king. Let me get my life together. Nigga, tighten up. Your life should have, if you needed a random nigga to tell you that you was already a bum and a buzzard. You know what I'm talking about? Man, come over here to Isaiah 51. These niggas crazy. You know, we had that conversation a long time ago. You know, nigga be like, call me king. Call me your Lord. Isaiah 51 and 17. Nigga, a whole pauper out here talking about call him a Lord. Nigga, you ain't no master, nigga. You ain't no ruler, cuz. See, the reason why I mention that is if you want to call yourself by titles, then you need to be representative of the title of which you're saying that you are. Nigga talking about he a king, and this nigga catching the bus. Nigga talking about he a king, but I'm waiting on payday. Well, you ain't no king, boy. You talking about you a king, but your daddy on rocks. Ain't worked in 15 years. Nigga, you were born to a peasant. And it's okay. Everybody don't come from nobility, man. It's all right if your daddy was a regular dude. My daddy was a regular man. He was a police officer. That's not nobility. That's of the servant class. You know what I'm talking about? You got to accept that. Isaiah 51:17. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which have drunken at the hand of Yahuwah the cup of his fury, that have drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. So when we put together, it said Ephraim spake with trembling. And we put that together, and we just seen the bread of trembling. Of course, it did also mention the drinking of water in Ezekiel 12. And then you see Isaiah mentioning it, and what do we put together? The fear and trembling that Yahushua had on the day of his death. Because when he went, you don't think he was out to coming with reverence. He come over here to Hebrew chapter 2 to solidify that he did it with fear. And why am I mentioning this here? Because there should be some level of reverence. See, most of us, you ain't reverence your daddy to the point the way you would get that. Because some people, well, I want to be before God trembling. Because you were in such awe of his power that's why you do that. Most people don't have that type of level of respect. And I get it. I understand. I said Hebrews 2, but I meant chapter 5. 5 and 6. Because I'm trying, and also most of you have never been in the presence of the king. Most of you have such a disdain, and I'm talking about men, I ain't talking about no women, for any type of authority, monarchy, or rulership. You know what I'm saying? You have a disdain for it. You know what I'm saying? You feel like the king and the ruler are supposed to break bread with you. You feel like he's supposed to do this, that, and the third. He just supposed to rule righteously. You know what I'm saying? But we also know that comes from another part. I done told you this before, and I just was listening to a brother in the video he was talking about, and he was talking about a whole totally different map. I done told you this before, but I'm be honest with you. Probably about 75% of niggas are losers. Just outright utter losers. That's male or female. And they losers not because they don't have some type of material wealth, but because of the way that they think. I done told you this before. Most people have a loser's mentality. When you have a loser's mentality, that will never correlate to any type of success in life whatsoever. Most people come into situations and circumstances defeated. You know what I'm saying? You come in looking for the most negative thing that you can do. You see people with success and feel like they owe you something. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're too sorry and you're too lazy to get up and do anything to produce anything for yourself and your progeny. And you walk around bitter, mad, and angry for the reality of your days. You can't handle adversity. At the first sign of difficulty, you want to fold up your tent, cry and moan. As Monte had already mentioned, you don't take accountability. You won't take accountability for your losses, and you have no perseverance to prefer through any type of adversity, difficulty of any shape, form, or fashion. That is a recipe for a loser. I don't care nothing about no slave disorders, no oppression, no none of that. Nigga, that means you come from a family of losers. That's all that means. We could come on with the external stuff, but at the end of the day, you come from a family of losers. I know some people who ain't come from no wealth, but people did not give them a loser's mentality. You know what I'm talking about? You can't go into life worrying about what you could lose when you got everything to gain. You know what I'm talking about? And that's how most niggas approach something, and that's fear-based. You can't go in looking at what you're going to lose because anything you do in life is a risk. There's only one thing in life that is risk-free, and that's serving Yahuwah. Ain't no risk of serving Yahuwah. Ain't no risk in that at all. You ain't risking nothing. You know what I'm talking about? And I can say that unequivocally with 100% confidence that you can trust in the word of Yahuwah, that if you take the chance to serve Yahuwah with your whole mind, heart, and soul, well, you ain't taking no risk. You guaranteed to win. You guaranteed to win. You ain't going to lose nothing. And I take that back. You is going to lose something. You're going to lose the world. You're going to lose your desires. You're going to lose unrighteousness. You're going to lose wickedness. You're going to lose anything contrary to the righteousness, power, and truth of the living Elohim. And you don't need none of that stuff. You're going to lose with that anyway. That's why Paul say, in order, shalom, man. Brother Renner, he said, that's why Paul say, if I have to lose all to gain Mashiach, then I count it, but don't. That's what you have to look at. Most people don't have that mentality. See, when Paul was describing that, that's a winner's mentality. Even in the state of being fearful because of the flesh being fearful, not that he fearful that Yahuwah his father would not fulfill the promise that he made unto him. That's why he asked for the cup to pass. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he asked for the cup to pass. He already know he wasn't taking no risk. He already know. You know what I'm saying? My flesh rests in hope. He's not going to suffer his Kadash one to see corruption. That I expect to be risen from the dead. Nigga, by what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? That is what I expect. And I don't expect it because I'm entitled to it. I expect it because I know that my Father is a deliverer of all things of which he speaks. That's why he expects it. That's why he tell you that trust in Yahuwah is everlasting strength, because I have an expectation that that word will be fulfilled. And that is without question. That word will be fulfilled. Paul made that same statement in the book of Acts. He said, as it was spoken unto me, so I believe it. See, that's a winner's mentality. A winner knows through all it doesn't matter. I'm going to succeed. And again, I'm not talking about monetarily. I'm not talking about finance. I'm not talking about no money. Everything ain't about no money. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, money cool. You know what I'm talking about? Book tell you that, money answer for all things. But our life ain't dictated about no money. There's many things that people can be successful in. I met my homeboy, man. He had just got out of jail. No matter of fact, I had just got out of prison. I seen it, man. Dude used to be hustling. Same spot I used to hustle in Justina, man. And he was like, man, I'm thinking about doing this here. But he was explaining to me, he was like, yeah, man, I live with my sons. I take care of my sons. I raise my sons. I'm like, well, nigga, then you successful then, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean? You trying to translate your success off some arbitrary scale of some people who don't even give a damn about you. But I'm like, if you're able to make an honest living and come home and be with your sons every day and give them the best of you of which you have, nigga, that is a success. That is a success. If you determine success by the amount of trips you can take, the amount of apparel you can don, the amount of fiat currency you can acquire, the type of vehicle you drive at home that you live in, you have a distorted view of success, because you could have all those things and be a piss poor wife or husband. You could have all those things and be a horrible friend. You could have all those things and be a horrible parent. And worst of all, you could have all those things and be a deplorable servant of Yahuwah. So those things don't matter. And what I mentioned, bro, I wasn't even dealing with no word. You know what I'm saying? But this my dog, and I seen him, man, he was down about that. I'm like, what are you down for, nigga? You get to raise your sons, nigga, you free. Some of our peers are no longer here. Some of the same niggas that we were back here hustling with, them niggas in prison are dead. You know what I'm talking about? And nigga, you out here with your sons, bro. Nigga, that's a success, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit back and define what success is for you. And if that junk be I'm talking about it, not some old arbitrary junk. I'm talking about, hey man, if I can do this, or this, I'm good. And stop trying to judge that junk by the internet, nigga. That's gay. That junk is gay, nigga. That junk is lame. That junk ain't hitting on nothing. Hebrews 5 and 6, man. So you can make it 5 and 5. So also Mashiach esteemed not himself to be made a high priest, but they that said unto him, you are my son, today have I begotten you. As he say also in another place, you are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard, and that he feared. And though he were a son, he learned obedience by the things which he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him. Now, we were talking about in this Exodus 32. Let's come back to Hosea. Of course, y'all know that Moses offered to have his name blotted out the book so Yasharal wouldn't die. That's being an intercessor. Them people couldn't go to Yahuwah and do that because they had sin on them. It had to be somebody who was clean that could be able to do that. So when these dudes tell you can just go up, that nigga's a fool. So we back in Hosea 13, because y'all know how this is gonna roll. You think we just, every chapter we roll through, sometimes we just ain't gonna roll through it. Sometimes it's things that's gonna be in it, and we're gonna spend some time talking about it. So when we see this Hosea 13, you see when Ephraim spake trembling, he exalted himself in Yasharal. And we just read that in the Philippians 2, that when he spake trembling, calling to his father, if it be possible, let this cup pass. He was exalted because the Father exalted him with his right hand to give him a name above all names. So when you understand that when you are willing to serve Elohim with fear and trembling, like we read in those epistle letters, then he will exalt you in due time. You understand? Now, when you get to what about when he offended in Baal, he died. Well, when he offended in the when you call, I'm not understanding your question, Christine. I'm not understanding what you're trying to say. You called in the inner, what does it mean? Try to make that more clear, or text my phone of what you're trying to say, because I'm not understanding what you're trying to say. Of course, when he offended in Baal or the Lord or the rulers of the people, then he died. Did he not offend with the scribes of the time? And he died. Let's continue in Hosea 13, verse 2. And now they sin more and more, and they've made them molten images of their silver, idols according to their own understanding. All of it the work of the craftsmen. They say of them, let the men that sacrifice kiss the calves. Therefore they shall be as the morning cloud, and as the early dew that pass away, and as the chaff is driven with the whirlwind out of the floor, and as the smoke out of the chimney. See, that's tough. Yet I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, from the land of Mizraim. You shall know no God but me, for is no Savior beside me. I think I was thinking about this the other day. I couldn't recall. But this is the thing with Yahuwah. Like, oh, that's what it was. In the pt5 group, I think the lady asked, okay, here it is. Oh, what that was Moses. You go back in Exodus 32, Christina. Moses said, let me just read it because I'm already on the page, and that'll make it easier for you. It's 32 and 30. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said unto the people, you sinned a great sin. Now I will go up unto Yahuwah, peradventure I shall make an atonement for your sin. Moses returned unto Yahuwah and said, oh, this people have sinned a great sin and have made them gods of gold. Yet now if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of my book which you have written. Now, of course, we know that Moses couldn't have sinned because of what? Because he was up on the mount with Yahuwah. So therefore, that he was sanctified, if you would. He was separate from what they had going on. Therefore, he could go up and make this intercession on behalf of the people. Yahuwah's response was this. Yahuwah said unto Moses, whoever sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. And it's as simple as that. You know what I'm talking about? And remember, this is springing from what we read in Jeremiah. The people, because we already know from what we read in chapters 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41. Right. I appreciate that, sir. You know what I'm talking about? These people were out of pocket. They had been carried away into Babylon. And for what? For idolatrous worship. And then they were coming to Jeremiah saying, you go pray to Yahuwah for us. Why they didn't go do it? Because they know Yahuwah wasn't going to accept it. And why could Jeremiah do this? Because where was Jeremiah the whole time? In the prison house, separate from the people and not partaking in their folly. And all this is pointing to the fact that Mashiach, according to what's in Hebrew chapter 7, because he got to be holy and Kadash, harmless, undefiled and separate from the people. Let's come on in and look at it. Let's just do that. And I'm using that example because you see Moses and Jeremiah
before they went to make intercession for the people, they also followed these qualifications, or not even say qualifications, or these specifications that are laid out in this epistle. They also fit these specifications. Hebrews 7:25. I also want to say, praise be to you, who a man, a good brother I know in the Lord, man. Brother had a stroke a couple months back. He done bounced back. Praise be to you for that. You know what I'm talking about? And I mentioned it because, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that he went off the word, but I'm just going to go from what he said himself, that he may have not been consecrated and dedicated as firmly as he has been in the past, or he felt that he should be. But he wanted to use what had happened to him as a cautionary tale to never waver, depart, and to always consistently and constantly remain dedicated to Yahuwah. Because we all know he could have died. You know what I'm saying? But he's here to be able to get that witness. And when I say a good brother, I mean I done met the brother a couple times. You know what I'm saying? He don't live in the state no more. He used to at one time. But he's good people, man. You know what I'm saying? And I just thank Yahuwah that he's still here, that he's able to actually talk and walk. You know what I'm saying? It took him a few months to get himself back right. But that he'd be able to mention that to people. Because I think sometimes, man, I know me and we were talking about this the other day, like this fourth is just understanding the concern. I don't think sometimes people realize how good this man really is. And unfortunately, it takes a very extreme situation and circumstance for us to recall that. You know what I'm talking about? You know, over years, I've always mentioned it to you like this. And I would tell him, Will, that this is why this happens. When you hear a certain level of understanding of the word, it's human nature, by the way. It's not a negative. You just automatically assume that everybody else is hearing the same thing that you are. You know what I'm talking about? Amen, Ish, amen. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just assumes that. And I understand why people assume that. Especially when you don't deal with a lot of different people who in the word. You just assume that everybody is hearing, learning, doing the same thing. Until you find out that they're not. You know what I'm saying? That people are not. And remember, Mashiach told you this: blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear, because many prophets have desired to hear the things that you hear and see the things that you've seen and have not. So you don't understand how precious and valuable that is, because that's not anything got to do with me or anyone else in the earth who manifests in the word. That's all Yahuwah's doing. That's his doing. That's not no man's doing. Ain't no man so righteous that he studied the word for day in and day out and got all this level of understanding of this, that, and the third. No, man, that's Yahuwah's doing, because the understanding is the key to life. Where understanding resides, everlasting life is present. So when understanding is imparted, that's imparted because Yahuwah has a desire for the individuals who have the ears to hear it, for them to live. And again, as he said, you got to praise Yahuwah for mercy, because that's what that is. That's nothing other. The giving of understanding is an act of mercy. That's what that is. That's why I say understanding is a wellspring of life to those that have it. That is an act of mercy. And sometimes when someone shows mercy to you consistently, you take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? You take it for granted because you know that you wouldn't extend that same level of mercy to another. So you don't expect someone to overlook and be merciful to the things that you do that ought to get you removed. That's where that comes from. That's what most people don't do, because you don't have that level of mercy, so you can't fathom that someone else would do that. You know what I'm talking about? That's the world we live in now. Y'all know that from the interactions with people, whether it's interpersonal relationship, friend with friends, family with family. That's why when they come to Yahuwah, people can't fathom that somebody. That's why all couldn't understand why David was such a merciful man, because he wouldn't do it. So he can't understand why would he do that? But he knew why deep down in his soul, David was more righteous than him. You know what I'm talking about? David was more righteous than him. So of course David is going to be more merciful than him. It's in his heart to be. See, if people spent more time being merciful, we wouldn't have all of the problems amongst our people that we have. Because people have no mercy, no kindness, no compassion, so therefore they're not going to have any love. That's why you don't see no love. I done told you this before. When my daddy died and my cousin stood up in that room, because these people arguing about folly, and he say, man, I'm finna dip. Ain't no love in this house. Now, he know all these people. Do you know how sad of a statement that is? For this man to say ain't no love in this house, and he in his 30s got to be, because, nigga, I was 37. You know what I'm talking about? This 4 years ago, I'm 37. That means it was never no love in that house. You understand what I'm telling you? I mean, it was never no love in that house. Not consistent enough, because there's no way that somebody should stand up and say that. And he wasn't, and I could tell he wasn't speaking just from that one particular interaction. That was built up. You know what I'm saying? I just told my homeboy today, man, they did my brother dirty, man. They talked about my brother like this man was just doing all this. See, I respect my brother Edward, boy, because that nigga did something that most niggas ain't gonna do. Boy, that nigga took care of my daddy till the day that he died. And took care of his grandma on top of that. And these people made it seem like that he was a scammer and a fisher. This man is wiping a grown man's butt. You ain't wiping your daddy butt if you don't love him. That's an act of love, nigga. And he ain't getting paid for that. He ain't getting paid for that. This man bathed his own father. This nigga did this for his own grandmother. Those are acts of love. Nigga can talk to they butt, fry fish, nigga, and all that there, man. That's an act of love, cuz. Because he wasn't being compensated for this. He wasn't getting nothing out of that, and he volunteered to do it. And you know the other thing? He delighted to do it. Because he said, when I was out here doing whatever I was doing, my daddy came and got me up out of jail. He said, and if I got to do this here for my daddy in his last days, then that's what I'm going to do. And he forsook his whole life to do it. That is an act of love. Most people don't have that type of mentality. That man forsook everything that he had going on to reverence and honor the man whose loins he came out of. You know what I'm talking about? Because he just said, well, you got to love somebody to wipe their butt, boy. That's love right there, man. Because you know how embarrassing it is for the person who got to be cleaned? That's a state of weakness for them. And you looking at it, it don't matter because I love you. Because you know why? Because when my butt needed to be wiped, you wiped mine. So I'm returning the favor. See, black people, we used to be like that. We ain't like that no more. Everybody out for self. Don't nobody love nobody. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody out for self. Don't nobody love nobody. And that's why you got what you got out here. That's why I always tell you, you ain't got to yell and scream. You ain't got to whoop and do all that there. Sometimes you got to lead with love and some patience and some mercy and some kindness, because that's what's needed. Our people got enough of berating, beating, yelling, screaming, and discipline. You got plenty of that. You got plenty of that. You know, I told you before, you can discipline without beating. You can discipline without yelling. Discipline is but instruction. You can instruct without being voracious in said instruction. And you can see that from Yahuwah himself. That's why I've always been telling y'all that over the course of years. Because you have to have some type of growth and maturity. All us at a point, I'm gonna bust this little nigga upside his head. But then you sit back and look at, but is that the most effective way to impart what I want him to learn? Because sometimes you gotta whoop him. But sometimes, most of the time, you gotta teach him. Just imagine how often Yahuwah taught you instead of beating your behind. Think about all the times he gave you instruction instead of busting you upside your head. And you know you deserve to get busted upside your head, but he taught you instead. Showed you the error of your conduct. That, my friends, is mercy. That's why he told you it's a weightier matter. Because people don't like to pick it up. 13:5, I believe. Oh, I ain't read Hebrews 7. I'm sorry. Hebrews 7:25. I'll make it 22. By so much was Yahushua made a surety of a better testament, and they truly were many priests, because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death. But this, because he continue ever, have an unchangeable priesthood. Amen, Brother Jones. Wherefore he is able also to save them to the uttermost that come unto Elohim by him, seeing he ever lived to make intercession for them. For such a high priest become us, is Kadash, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and made higher than Shamahim, who need not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice first for his own sins and then for the people's. For this he did once when he offered up himself. For this law make men high priests which have infirmity, but the word of the oath which was since the law, the Son who is consecrated forevermore. See, they threw that make in there, but he said who was since the law, the Son, meaning the Son is before the law. That's what's actually being conveyed. He's been set apart forevermore. Let's come back to Hosea 13. Where we at with it? Verse 4. Hosea 13 and 4. According to the pasture they were so filled, they were filled, and their heart was exalted, therefore they have forgotten me. Therefore I will be unto them as a lion, as a leopard by the way I will observe. I'm sorry, I ain't mean to hit that. I will meet them as a bear is bereaved, and will rend the call of their heart, and I will devour them like a lion. The wild beast shall tear them. Oh, Yasharal, you have destroyed yourself, but in me is your help. Now, remember, we were talking about they corrupted themselves. He said, boy, you destroyed yourself. And y'all know what it is. It's shakah. You done made yourself corrupt. You ruined yourself. That's when you sit back when you look at somebody who destroyed themselves, they ruin their own life. And you ruin your own life because of your own faulty decision making. And what is your decision making usually rooted in? Selfish motivation. Selfish motivation. You know what I'm talking about? And again, that's why you can't go with a happy wife, happy life type of mantra, as they stated, because that woman is going to go by what makes her happy versus what is the best overall thing for everyone involved. And use a beta male sent mangina buster sucker nigga if you on that type of time. If you live your whole entire life to make this person happy. Because Yahuwah does not move to make you happy. He's not going to do that. Because I heard this woman and I could see she had a problem with it, which is the men that have the it's my way or no way. And it's funny because these people all say they serve God, and Yahuwah is literally, it is my way, and that's it. There's nothing else to discuss. You're going to do what I want done, or you can dip. And it's fine that you dip because you free to see. A lot of people look at it that way. That's controlling. No one's controlling you because just as Yahuwah gave you an option, you have an option, but you don't get to dictate the terms of the consequences of the option that you choose. So you don't get to dictate. See, if you got a lot of men, they'll come to a woman, they say, hey, I'm not tolerating, this what I want. Oh, I don't want to do that. That's fine. See, a lot of women look at it, that's controlling, or you trying to pressure me. Man, that man told you what he had desired and he accepted. And you either with it or you not. Ain't nobody forcing you to do that. You knew what it was and you can agree to it or you can dip. But most people, and we were listening to this morning, and this is accurate, and Darius made me think about it because he said he went to re-listening to the debate we had some years back. That just been so long ago. That just been almost 7 years ago now, 6, 7 years. We were debating the dude about can women preach or teach. And in the video Judah was talking about in regards to Skip Bayless and the Jenny Taft lady, that most people do not like men who have strong convictions and will not be moved off of what it is that they stand for. And they will come to try to tear you down in any shape, form, or fashion. And when he was mentioning that, he was listening to that again, and it brought back to my memories everything that occurred. Every caller on when the callers could call in, all of them were attempting to destroy me everybody came attacking. Because they couldn't believe, how could you say the things that you had just said? How could you say that? And then me being the sporty mouth nigga from Duval County that I am, I did not back down from these people. Because you in your feelings. Niggas say, my grandma going to hell for preaching the word? I say, absolutely she going. But she ain't going for preaching the word. She going for being a rebel. How you going to say my grandma went to hell? Real easy. That's what the book say. Nigga, you want me to say no because that's your grandma? That's what you want me to do? You want me to appease your feelings because that's your grandma? Nigga, your grandma's out of pocket. And I'm not going to make you feel better so that you can sleep better at night. That's what's wrong with men now. Y'all want to make sure people sleep better at night because you don't want to be disliked. You don't want to be ostracized. If that's what you stand on, then stand on it. But we stand on that Yahushua, the son of Elohim, and died and rose from the dead the third day and resurrected in the Shamahim. That junk on Debate Talk for You YouTube channel, man. I tried to put it on our. Did I try to put that on our channel? I don't think I put that on our channel, but that's where it's at. It's on a man South Showtime YouTube channel, man. Debate Talk for You. Hold on, I'll find it for you. What the name of it? Oh, they were getting mad, man. Dude getting on there, man, talking about Miriam taught Moses the law. I'm like, are you serious? Talking about women can't teach. They went to hold of the prophetess in the college. I said, well, you can't be that stupid to think that word college literally meant a place of instruction. You that stupid, and y'all teach. I'm like, and y'all teaching people the word? I'm like, bro, that literally means suburb. Why are you teaching people the word? And you thought that literally meant college, a place of higher education. I say, man, shoot. And y'all be wondering why I be like, boy, these boy trash out here, man. Y'all wonder why I say that. Oh, I don't do no bass. I only did that one time, and I did that for Sal. You know what I'm saying? I did that for Sal. Because Sal wanted me to do that because that's my homeboy. I did that for him. I ain't do that for nobody because I told him I don't debate. I ain't no debater. As a matter of fact, on the debate, my opening salvo was to bust Cuz upside the head. Shoot, Darius gonna have to send me that link. Man, I can't find that junk. I ain't finna be around here looking for that junk. Okay, hey, send it to me, Monte. Because I can't find that junk, man. One of y'all send it to me. And I'll send it to Christina, man. Oh, I can't copy and paste the link on him. I have to put that junk in the chat for anybody else. But yeah, I mean, matter of fact, and I'll move on. I can remember because it's coming back to my mind right now. I can remember literally because we were staying at the in-town on beach. I remember being in the shower. You know what I'm talking about? And my opening statement, all that came to my mind while I was in the shower. By Adam, him giving the word to Adam, all that there, man, I'm praise be to you. I remember that one now. That was fresh too. I held that. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, this is what I did. I take that back. I broke bread with our people first, and then I put that in that there. Because after my opening statement, bro, I went to preaching the word. You know what I'm talking about? I don't debate. I said what I had to say. I ain't even listen to that nigga when he was talking. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was talking, I think I had Pale and a couple other people on the line. You know what I'm saying? I would click over. I'm talking to them. I wasn't even listening to that nigga. I didn't care what that nigga had to say. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, as we came to the end, bro, I'm like, bro, this ain't no debate. People's souls on the line. I said, let me put it to you like this here, man. If you saying women can preach and teach, and I say they can't, that mean I'm saying that a woman can't do something that Yahuwah says she can do. That mean I ought to go to hell. I saying if you saying they can, and Yahuwah say they can't, that mean, boy, you setting people up for death, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Then the dude who I debated against, his homeboy, you know what I'm talking about? They teacher, he coming at me on some old tough guy junk. You got the right one, because I'm with all of that. They was like, how can you say you a teacher of the word? You saying, nigga, you telling people grow some nuts, stop being a hoe, because you niggas hoes. You niggas hoes, you got to be men. Men lead. Yahuwah didn't talk to Eve, nigga. You got to be a man and stand up. They said, talking about, what if the men don't want to get out there and do it, and the women got to stand up? I'm like, who told you needed to do that? You ain't doing that because men ain't standing up. You doing that because that's what you want to do. Because a man can't stand up. Yahuwah got to stand him up, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Man, these people are all out of order, man. And that's what the problem is. Don't nobody want to be no man. That's what they told me. You hate women. I'm like, nigga, I got an old lady. I got a mama. I got a sister. I got nieces, nigga. The hell you mean? I hate women. Nah, nigga, it's a standard, it's an order, and they gonna walk in it. I'm not gonna bend it to appease her feelings, you hoe, nigga. That's what's wrong with you niggas. You want to appease her, that you gonna compromise. I ain't compromising nothing to appease no woman. For what? I wasn't on that before the word. I wasn't on that before the word, man. You got to be a man, bro. You got to be willing to say, you know what? I don't got to be with this woman and I ain't got to have sex and to compromise my masculinity and manhood to please a woman. That's what's wrong with these men out here, man. That's why they can't serve you and promote the word effectively. Because you will compromise to please this woman. You'll know that, and you'll know that's what you're doing. Because you don't want her upset. She got to be happy. Man, bump that junk, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Brandon used to say that junk all the time. Boy, them women gonna get you, bro. Man, I don't care nothing about what these hoes talking about. For what? Because ain't no self-respecting woman gonna be trying to get no back and forth and do that with no man anyway. She may not like it. She may disagree. She gonna keep it to herself, though. You know what I'm talking about? See, you got to watch a woman who always feel like she need to voice her disagreements with men. You're dealing with a woman who hates or wants to be a man. Because no woman, no self-respecting woman is going to interject herself in an arena to get in verbal sparring matches with men. And I'm not saying that they got to agree with everything that you're saying, but like I said, she's going to keep that to herself. She ain't going to try to go back and forth with you in a battle of wits, because I ain't finna get in no battle of wits with no woman. Baby, you can win that. I got more respect for myself than to be going in no battle of wits with no woman. I'm superior to you. I'm superior to you because he made me in the form and image of Elohim. So what does Elohim look like going back and forth with Yasharal? Nigga, that's insane. Especially if I'm not having sex with you or taking care of you. I'm not doing all that. What am I doing all that? I don't even get no benefit of dealing with you. So I'm going to argue with you? Come on, man. That don't even make sense. She got to at least give you some type of benefit. You ain't getting no benefit. You just arguing with random women on the internet, random women in the street about what you know to be right. Nigga, that is insane. It makes no sense. 13 and 11, 13 and 10 actually, or 13 and 9, Jose. Oh, Yasharal, you have destroyed yourself. But in me is your help. What is help? What does that translate to for us? Izar. And you know what that is? That's an aid, a help, and a relief. That's a circler. That's a help meet. A help meet for your soul. He said, I will be your king. Where is any other that may save you in all your cities and your judges of whom you said, give me kings and princes? I gave you a king in my anger, and I took him away in my wrath. Well, I mean, it's just the emotional nature of a woman why y'all feel like you got to get the last word. And that's because most of y'all weren't raised by feminine women. So shoot, that's what y'all gonna do. But that's just y'all need. Y'all feel like y'all got to get your point across. You're gonna hear what I got to say. I need to be heard, and my thoughts and feelings need to be validated and acknowledged. That goes back to because a woman leads with her feelings. So she wants her feelings validated and acknowledged. Whether they're right or wrong is irrelevant. You're going to acknowledge them at the bare minimum. Because in most women's mind, the acknowledgement of her thoughts is validation of her thoughts, that they're correct. And when you don't acknowledge them, in her mind, you're telling her that my thoughts and feelings don't matter. And it may be that it's not that they may matter or don't matter. It's just in particular, I just have no desire to engage with you at this particular time. You know what I'm talking about? And I think it just is what it is, man. You know, it's just the realities of life, man. You know what I'm talking about? But come on back over here to Jeremiah 41, because we finna slide up out of here. But yeah, y'all gonna be tripping on that junk if you go listen to it, man. I ain't actually heard it since we did it. Yeah, because I usually don't listen to broadcasts. Once it's done for me, that is a wrap. I'll never listen to it again. Which it's not like I listened to it. I mean, shoot, heck, I did it. You know what I'm talking about? But I did remember certain elements of it that still stick out to this day. But you can definitely feel they were definitely coming. Every caller. It was funny because that particular show is the only show that I ever did for Sal that there were callers who had something to say to me. Because every other show I ever did for Sal, when he opened up them phone lines, outside of people that I was down with, the phone lines, nobody ever hit one. Nobody ever had anything to say. You know what I'm saying? I know that's how Lil Johnny ran across it because they said that's where he seen it at on one of those. Or heard it live on one of them. You know what I'm saying? Several people done said, yeah, that's what we heard you at, to see you at, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm talking about? But no callers ever had anything to say to me live on the air. That was the only one. And that's because I was saying something that they didn't agree with. And that was mainly because I was not pandering and catering to women. And that's Jeremiah 42 win. Because that's what I'm not gonna do that. I wasn't raised to do that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't taught to cater and pander to a woman. I just wasn't taught to do that. You know what I'm saying? I was definitely told that is the very essence of weakness. I definitely remember my big homie telling me as a jit off the top, you got to straighten a woman when she get out of pocket every single solitary time. Can't let it slide. And not on some, you know what I'm saying, just because she's going to deem you as weak. And if this poor person wants to consistently and constantly try you, then you just have to leave them alone. You know what I'm saying? I was told this 15 years old. Like, bro, you're not supposed to be going through this with no woman. You don't let no woman just constantly and consistently disrespect you. You know what I'm talking about? Just leave her alone. He didn't say go back and forth with her, try to win her over. He was like, man, leave that hoe alone. You got to love and respect yourself enough to not allow some woman to feel like that she can do you like that. And most young men ain't told that because most young men are just told to take it. But I also told, man, get you some money, man. Y'all getting the best money you could ever get. You getting the richest of Yahuwah. Man, don't worry, man, your wife want to act stupid. She want to do A, B, C, D. Man, you focus on what you need to be focusing on. And that save your soul. Nah, I'm not finna engage you. You got to focus on being the best version of who you were born to be in the eyesight of Yahuwah in every aspect and area of your physical existence. That's maximizing every bit of talent, strength, and ability that Yahuwah has bestowed upon you. You know what I'm saying? If your wife ain't with it, that just sucks for her. You know what I'm talking about? That just sucks for her. Because that means you just don't realize what type of man is in your presence. You know what I'm talking about? That's all that is. And most of the time, when you have some type of a level about yourself, most people don't realize the level of greatness and what type of person that's standing before them until you're not standing before them anymore. See, they didn't realize who Yahushua was until he wasn't standing before him anymore. Then they realized something. And then when he resurrected from the dead, he sealed it. So they had no more room for doubt. But most people don't realize, matter of fact, he told you that. I'm going to end you with this here. Because, I'm going to end you with this here, man. Ezekiel 31. I'm going to end you with this here. Because, we're going to come back to Jeremiah 42. Because all I was going to do was reread what we started with. And ain't no need for us to do that. Ain't no need for us to do that. What is that, man? Is it Jeremiah 30? I feel like I'm in the wrong space. I feel like I'm in the wrong space. Because we got to get out of here. We at our time. But I appreciate y'all rolling with us this evening. Dang, I can't remember what it is. I know chapter 30. I'm bugging. Because I want you to see it off the page. I don't even want to quote that one there, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to see that off the page. Yeah, Ezekiel 33. That's what it was. 33. That's what it was. There we go. Ezekiel 33 and 30. That's what we need. That's what we need for the speed. Oh, shoot, you good, bro. That junk don't bother me none. That's what it's there for, man. That chat is that's what the chat there for. And then my chat ain't moving fast because it ain't like we got live streams that you see with secular people with thousands of people. comment and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can comment on that as often as you desire. That's okay. Ezekiel 33 and 30. Also, you son of man, the sons of your people are still talking against you by the walls and in the doors of the houses, speaking one to another, everyone to his brother, saying, come, I pray you, hear what is the word that come from Yahuwah. They come unto you as the people come, and they sit before you as my people, and they hear your words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart go after their covetousness. And lo, you are unto them as a very lovely song of one that have a pleasant voice, and so can play well on the instrument, for they hear your words, but they do them not. And when this come to pass, and lo, it will come, then they shall know that a prophet have been among them. See, at that particular moment, them people didn't know what was before them. He said, but when they do this here, they gonna know the end. Right. Praise be to Yahuwah. In the name of Yahushua, appreciate y'all time this evening. Bless y'all at the house of Elohim. In the name of Yahushua, prayerfully y'all got some good understanding this evening. You know, just let Yahuwah be esteemed, man. You know, that word good now. That word of Yahuwah is the best. It is outstanding. Ain't nothing like it. Best thing on the market. You know what I'm talking about? But, you know, yeah, just weigh and consider, man. We had to look at those things, man. You know what I'm talking about? Looking at that intercessor and the stuff that spring out of that. You know what I mean? We got some more to go through in Jeremiah 42, Yahuwah willing, on the Shabbat, man. You know how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But again, I appreciate y'all this evening. Yahuwah willing, man, we're going to crank this up on the Sabbath, man. Make it do what it do. Put some more work on the street. Blessings out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Lord, y'all appreciate y'all. And thank you for your time. And Yahuwah willing, till the next one.